Hi, my name is Brian Leanne, and welcome. I'm going to be talking about the post-gastric surgery dietary guidelines today. But before I start talking about the dietary guidelines, I really want to take a step back and talk about why I'm talking about this. So why I'm talking about this is because, let's say, for example, you go to a party and you're having lots of fun, you're with friends and family, or you're with people that you care about, and they offer you a food that you probably shouldn't have at that time and place, but you have it anyways. And then what happens is that you feel uncomfortable, and it kind of ruins the night. So it's to avoid these kind of scenarios, not just so that I can bore you to death, So the dietary guidelines are really for your comfort, your success, and your recovery after the surgery. So what we're going to be talking about today is the diet progression. So out of the 5 diet stages, where should you be at what time? How to avoid the common nutrition problems following surgery. That means being able to track and also know what is the requirement for fluid, protein, and vitamins and minerals. And this is really just to make sure that you have everything planned ahead of time so that you can be successful moving forward. So how does this diet progress? So after the surgery, when you're in the hospital, you're going to be given clear liquids, and so that's the stage that you will be on, diet stage 1. Then you'll go to diet stage 2, which is the full liquids. So these are the liquids that are low in sugar, low in fat, but high in protein. These are the same fluids that you probably and should have had 2 weeks before the surgery for the preoperative liquid diet. And then 2 to 3 weeks after the 4-week full liquid, if you're doing the sleeve, or 2 weeks for the gastric bypass, you're going to be doing the pureed diet for 2 to 3 weeks, and then the soft diet for 2 to 3 weeks. And we'll go into more detail when you get closer to this date. And then about 3 months after the surgery, you're going to be on a regular consistency diet. Just something to also note is that you can go backwards when you are at each stage, but you can't go forwards. So what do I mean? I mean that if you're on a pureed diet and you're not feeling so well on it, you can go back to full liquids. You can go back to clear liquids, but you shouldn't, and you shouldn't go to the soft diet, which is moving forward. So this is a table that goes over the post-operative dietary staging. The first row is for the gastric Roux-en-Y, and then the second row is for the sleeve gastrectomy. It goes over in weeks or times, and then in terms of the goals, these are the things that we ultimately always come back to. Are you getting enough fluid? Are you getting 48 to 64 ounces per day on diet stage 1, and then 80 to 90 ounces in the stage thereafter? Are you getting 60 to 80 grams of protein diet stage 2 and after? And is your meal pattern consistent? Are you skipping meals, or are you eating 3 to 6 times a day, for example? And the reason why I'm stressing the 3 to 6 times is because your stomach is usually about 32 ounces, about the size of this jar over here. But after the bariatric surgery, the gastric bypass, your stomach becomes the size of an egg, about 1 to 2 ounces. And after the sleeve gastrectomy, approximately 6 ounces, so the size of a banana. So with that smaller stomach, you still want to be able to meet these needs and not be deficient. So what are some general guidelines? So eat slowly, chew foods very well, stop eating as soon as you feel full, take 30 minutes to eat each meal or snack, eat about 6 small meals daily, eat no more than 4 ounces of food at each meal or snack, and do not eat and drink at the same time, so wait 30 minutes before and after meals. Continuing on, stay hydrated. Make sure that you're getting fluid, but you're sipping, not gulping. Make sure that you drink 48 to 64 ounces daily initially, and then work up to 80 to 90 ounces. And when you're drinking fluids, to avoid fruit juices and carbonated beverages. The reason being is that this high sugar or these air pockets may not be good for the surgery afterwards because you might get stuff like dumping syndrome, or you might get air pockets that might aggravate the surgical site. So Along that same line, don't chew gum, avoid using a straw, and take your liquid and chewable vitamins and minerals daily. So in order to do this and keep yourself accountable, one thing that a lot of people find successful is to keep a daily food and fluid record. So keep that in mind. So when I was talking about the juice and the high sugar foods, you want to have low sugar foods because this is to avoid this thing called dumping syndrome, especially if you have the gastric bypass. Dumping syndrome happens when sugar goes into your small stomach and it increases the osmolality, and because there's more osmolality in your stomach, that draws the fluid into the stomach, and then the stomach becomes too full to hold additional fluid, and then it causes dumping. And from what I hear, dumping is a really awful, terrible feeling. So what I'd really recommend is starting a journal. It could be online, it could be using an app, it could be using a notebook, but track. Track so that I can help you when we meet with each other. Track so that you can help yourself when you're not at the office visits. Ultimately, it's really for you. So if you decide that you don't want to do it, you can. But I find that it's very successful for people who do this.